Okay, today we're going to look at counting to 100. If you haven't already checked out my video on counting to 10 and you don't already know how to count to 10, I recommend watching that first. Otherwise, this isn't going to make very much sense because we're going to start from 11 here. I have no clue why I animated that sentence. Every time I look at it, I'm just like, what was I thinking? But you know what? I guess it does pop. I guess it's interesting. Okay, step 1, step 1. 11 to 19. So first, let's look at 11 to 19. Nice and easy formula here. You're going to combine 10, ju, with the appropriate single digit number as demonstrated below. So 16, 10 and 6, 17, 10 and 7, 18, 10 and 8, 19, 10 and 9, 11, 10 and 1, etc. That is what's happening here. Let's go for it properly. 13 ju san, 14 ju yon, 15 ju go, 16 ju roku, 17 ju nana, 18 ju hachi, 19 ju kyu. Gonna start here. Ju ichi, 11 ju ichi, 12 ju ni. I actually can't remember where we started, but we're gonna leave it there. It's not too bad of a formula. It's easier to learn than saying 15, 16, because for all of those you need to learn like a new number. These you're just putting two numbers you already know together. If you go on my website, you can play the Let's Practice. We're going to practice these in a moment, so don't worry too much, but I also recommend having a little go at this. It's typing practice. I believe you can type in hiragana or so jugo. Oh no, or Q. Do not use capitals, it will not accept them. I'm not smart enough to program that in yet. Okay, step 2, counting in tens. Now let's look at counting. Now let's look at the tens. Here is the formula. 20 is 2 tens, so it's niju. 10 alone is still just ju, not ichiju. So please do not say something like ichiju, especially when we get to like the hundreds. I think a lot of people get really tempted to say 100. For most of their ones, so 1,000, 1 million, etc., they generally just use 100 is not 100, it's just 100, etc. Anyway, so let's go through this one. 60, 6 tens, 70, 7 tens, 80, 8 tens, 90, 9 tens. I don't want to do this. It goes too fast of a pace. 30, 30, 40, 40, 50, 60, 70, 70, 80, 90, 20, 30. I think we started around there. The best tip I can give you for this one is you can kind of think of it as like in English, it doesn't work for like 30, but in English we say 40, 50, 60, 70, 80. You can think of the T part as being like 10. It doesn't work perfectly for all of them, but like you can think of it as like 4, 10, 5, 10, 6, 10, 7, 10, not 70, 8, 10, not 80, 9, 10, not 90, etc. And that might make it easier. One of the things you will probably find you're going to trip up on is accidentally saying 13 instead of 30, 14 instead of 40, because they're the same word, they're just kind of changed around. So 70 is nanaju, 17 is junana. On my website, I believe I have a little game for this. We're not going to go over this one right now. You can go to the website if you want to play it, but you just read the number. Is that jukyu or kyuju? It's 19 because the 10 part comes first. Jukyu.
19、
And I think it also says it after. You might have heard that, but you can hear the number. Cool. Step 3, the full 100. So finally, we're going to combine what we've just learned in the first 2 steps. Again, we're going to practice this in a moment. We're going to practice it in a bit more of a unique way. We'll get onto that in a second, but we will be practicing some of these numbers. So like in English, we say the bigger number first, for example, 44. We then add the single digit onto the end, for example, 63. So you're kind of just looking at this part here and then adding the single digit after it. Ta-da. Okay, I definitely can't read this fast. We'll try it and we'll give it a go. So 12, Juni. 23, Niju-san. Okay, I can. 34, Sanju-yon. 45, Yonju-go. 56, Goju-roku. 67, Rokuju-nana. 78, Nanaju-hachi. Basically, I'm going to stop there because that's not very useful. It's just going through the numbers very, very fast. But you can see on one side on the left, we have the 30 part, the 40 part, the 50 part, 50, 60, 70. On the left side, we have the single digit, so Q, ichi, ni, san, whatever, you can kind of break it up into that. So if you ever find this difficult, find the bigger digit, find the 40, and then find the 6. It is very similar to English in that sense. You're just finding the 50 and then the 6, the 60 and then the 7. Oh no, we're not. What I'm saying isn't matching the numbers on here, but yeah, the 30 and then the 4, the 40 and then the 5, etc. If you can't quite get it right, you can start by using the chart I've made below. Just follow the chart along from the 10s to the zeros. For example, 85 is hachiju and go, and 17 is ju and nana. So basically, I've highlighted the first example on here. If you find this difficult, you can copy down a little chart like this, or you can make, you can go to my website and see mine. It's on Counting to 100. Basically what we have here is the tens in one column, the digits in another, and if you wanted to say something like 85, which is currently highlighted, you would find the 8, you go into the tens, 80, hachiju, and then you would go into the fives, go, hachiju go. You can look at this and make any number. So for example, say I wanted to say 23, I would find 2 in the tens, niju, and then I would find 3 in the digits, san. 23 is niju-san. Let's do a few more examples, and I'm going to give you a second to think about what the answer could be. So 46 is 46. 71 is 71. 60. Oh my gosh, I made a little mistake there. It should have rokuju. I've seen this before. I've done this lesson before, and I always say I'll fix it. Rokuju, rokuju. 90, kyuju. 24, 24. Okay, let's look at some examples of counting just because it's nice to go over things in detail. Okay, if we wanted to say 13, we would say 10, which is ju, the first digit that's happening there, and san, which is 3. Remember, the first part of 13 is ju. It's a 10. It's 10 and 3. It's not 1 and 3. It's 10 and 3. 17 is ju, and the second part is nana. 10 and 7. Okay, I'm going to quiz you on these. You're going to have a second or so to think of the number, and then I'll reveal it. So 15, 15, 12, 12, 14, 14. Remember, it's yon when we're counting, not shi. Same with nana, not shichi. 19, 19. Okay, now we're going to go with some higher numbers. For this one, remember we have the single digit first because it's 2 tens, not 10 and 2 or something like that anymore. So 20 is 20. 50 is 5 tens, so we have go and ju, not 10 fives or something like that. 5 tens, go ju. That 0 is from the 10. Quiz, have a go at this one. 70, 70 is 70. Have a go at this one. 30 is 30. I've got these ones uncovered whilst I explain what I'm doing with this one. We're putting the tens in one and the single digit in the other. So 23 is 23. 20, 23. 47 is 47. 40, 40, 7. Okay, what is 89? 80, 80, 9, 33. 30, 30, 3, and 99. 90, 90, 9, 99, 99. Lastly, just as a little extra, what is 100? 100 is 100. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so personally, I find it easier to learn things when given a practical use. So we're also going to throw in 3 new words. We're going to throw in tasu, which is plus, hiku, which is minus, and wa, which is equals. So tasu, plus, hiku, minus, equals, wa. Wa equals. Let's look at some examples. So 9 plus 6 equals 15. If we wanted to say this in Japanese, we would say 9 tasu 6 wa 15. 9, 9 tasu plus 6, 6 wa equals 15, 15. Let's look at an example with minus. 9 minus 6 equals 3. 9 引く6は3。9, 9, 引く minus 6, 6 wa equals 3, 3. Okay, let's practice. 12 minus 7 equals 5. I'm going to give you a second to think about this one. You can pause it if you need longer. And let's go over it. 12. 12 minus 引く 7, 7 equals は 5, 5. 12引く7は5. Pause it if you need a moment. Okay, 63 plus 21 equals 84. 63足す21は84 63足す21は84 18 minus 4 equals 14. 18引く4は14 18引く4は14 26 minus 15 equals 11. 26引く15は11 26引く15は11 I really hope I've got all the math right in this. I've just realised how embarrassing it's going to be if I haven't. 20 plus 47 equals 67. 20足す46は67 20足す46は67 31 minus 24 equals 7. 31引く24は7 48 minus 28 equals 20. "48 引く28は20." 90 plus 6 equals 96. 90足す6は96。90足す6は96。53 minus 37 equals 16. 53引く37は16。53引く37は16。100 plus 0 equals 100. 100足す0は100。100足す0は100。0足す11は11。0足す11は11. Okay, I think that's pretty much it for this lesson. I really like to make things practical, which is why I've added plus and minus and equals in. It kind of gives you a few extra words to learn, and I think for some people it kind of feels like you're learning more rather than just learning numbers. You're learning how to say sums as well, which I don't know, I guess for me at least, I feel like I'm achieving a tiny bit more. Again, one of the tips I would, or not again, but one of the tips I would give for numbers is some people do find them quite easy. I was not one of those people, but I was never one of those people with like languages in general. If you find them easy, make sure you don't neglect them, because I would say it's very common to be like, oh, numbers, they're logical. I can do these without trouble. Not for everyone. Again, I found them hard. I promise you this is not like a global thing. I actually get a lot of students who just find them a bit hard as well. But a lot of students can see the logic in them and they think, oh, well, as long as I know numbers 1 to 10, I'll be able to do any number, so I don't need to practice them that much. You do need to practice them to get to a speed that sounds natural. Because, yeah, like technically you can probably say any number up to 100. Some people with a little practice, some people with more practice, but say you can technically say now, you know the formula up to 100, that doesn't mean you can say it at a speed that sounds like you know numbers, you know? Like if someone said to me, oh, how much money do you have? And I have 57 yen, which is not a lot, but let's just say that, and it takes me like 10 seconds to figure out how to say 57. That isn't really knowing how to do numbers. That's knowing the formula of numbers. It's not knowing the numbers. Even to this day, if someone asks me to do a number, sometimes my brain just kind of freezes and I'm like, oh my gosh, numbers. That will happen for a long time possibly, but just a warning, you do need to actually practice them. You can't just know the formula for them and be like, yes, I know this. Okay, I will see you next time, and thank you for watching so far. Just a reminder, you can sign up for my website directly on the website or via Etsy. You can also trial it first, so I have a few free lessons going over some of the basics, hiragana, some kanji, just explaining everything you need to start learning Japanese. And then from then on, we have a few paid lessons just to help support me and the time spent making all of these lessons. I created my own curriculum because I sometimes don't really like how a lot of the textbooks explain things. I think they make things really, really complicated, and I think they make very easy things harder by using a lot of jargon.